Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. I did a really bad job in my last video not saying that the plan for Answer the Call was to discuss this specific topic. I do believe at the end of the last Answer the Call, I teased the fact that I was going to be making the video about how I felt Star Citizen requires a subscription model post-release or post-minimum viable product or whenever they stop selling spaceships, if they stop selling spaceships. And it was obviously a polarizing topic, and there was a lot of good comments and a lot of comments that differed in my opinion. I think that those were all good. But the idea of needing a subscription model I thought would be a cool discussion to have after I made the video. I don't think YouTube is a great place for having a back and forth conversation, right? Someone leaves a comment, I respond to it, and I would say 95% of the time, there's never another response after that. So I think having an ATC after a video that might be pretty polarizing would be pretty cool. So I feel, if you guys have not watched that video, I'll link it in the description as well. It'll probably be in the top left corner right now. I feel that Star Citizen's funding model is flawed in the sense that Star Citizen is selling spaceships right now, but because of the pace of Star Citizen's development, most of the money of the ship sales has gone towards the development of not just whatever Star Citizen is today, but more importantly, to Squadron 42. So Star Citizen has been this advertising model for paying for Squadron 42's development, and then Squadron 42 comes out, and then what? What happens with that money? Does it go into Chris Roberts' pocket? Does it go to continue to fund Star Citizen? Does it go to Squadron 42 Part 2? What happens, right? And in general, server costs and operating costs of an MMO tend to be very expensive. I used some WoW numbers as an example, but who knows if my numbers were completely off base or not. Now, in general, I think we all think Star Citizen's going to be wildly successful. Otherwise, why would we be here on a show like this? We see the potential of it. If it achieves that potential, there's going to be a lot of players interested in Star Citizen, right? That means a lot more server costs. So how much is too much? $20 million a year, $30 million a year? How much is it going to cost these guys to keep the servers running? We also know that we only have one star system. They're going to need a decently sized dev studio to continue finishing what Star Citizen would actually be. So I think operating costs are going to be quite high. And if they don't plan on continuing to sell spaceships, what do? Is just selling gold and little cosmetic items going to be enough? Some games have proved that cosmetics are enough. Others haven't. But a lot of those games aren't necessarily MMOs. And yeah, so there's questions. It's an interesting topic and discussion to have. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. So we're going to start with the first caller, whose name is Karadef. He's been a caller before, but it's been quite some time since we've had him on. Hello, Karadef. Welcome. How you doing?
Hey. All right.
First question is, I just played the video before we started the recording for Answer the Call, but did you see the video before deciding to call in?
Yeah, I'd actually watched it when it first came out, and then again 2 hours ago, I was going back through it.
Okay. So, what do you think?
So, yeah, starting at the costs. So, right now, they're on AWS.
Yeah.
In 2010, I believe World of Warcraft was still on dedicated servers in a colo, so that's going to cost them a lot more just on a 24-hour period.
What's a colo?
Versus a colocation. So it's they don't own the data center, but they're renting space in a data center.
But they own their own servers, so there's a cost for that too, right? Yeah, that I heard that they do own their own servers, or they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, versus Star Citizen, they're doing AWS, so that will scale down as scale overnight
up?
When there's not as many people.
Yeah,
it'll scale up
and
as well.
down.
So it's exactly they get charged for what they're using rather than having servers running overnight when 1/10 of that is able to handle the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be one thing that will cut down costs. As well as AWS generally costs less to run versus a similar hardware setup anyways, so that will help costs. Like you said, though, they're going to continue developing, so it's not like they're just going to be like, okay, the game's out, cut development, fire 80% of the company.
Yeah, they have to continue because the game isn't out yet.
Yeah.
It is,
so,
but it's not.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that as well, which is like they're going to be developing. They're going to probably keep a large chunk of their company for a long time after official launch.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you were saying, transferring out data. They're not actually transferring out 40, 50 gigs every single time they're updating. They're transferring out the 5 to 10
changes.
gigabytes maybe. So
the changes.
It's not quite as bad. Yeah, it's incremental changes on that. So it's not quite as bad, but yeah.
And the thing about that though is, multiply that by a lot more, because these are numbers of 2018. Nobody was playing in 2018. I can't imagine what their server costs are today in comparison. I can't wait until the financial numbers come out next year and you see that number possibly double.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see where the actual numbers go, as well as there's a factor of, it's only 10 gigabytes they're transferring right now. Look at most AAA games today where it's over 100 gigs easily.
Yeah.
And then you consider, how broad they're trying to go with Star Citizen. I could see it going well over 100 gigs.
Yeah, for sure.
Easily. So that could be a consideration, but I don't think it's quite as big as you may be expecting. And similar with not being as big as you may be expecting is the website. We know the website is poorly programmed, so I'd imagine it's not actually as many people as you think, and it's just the fact the website is poorly programmed and their servers can't keep up.
Sorry, my cat just bit me for the first time in her entire life, and I don't know why. I was just petting her. Give me a second. Let me let her out of the room. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Let's go. Come on. Okay. I apologize for that.
No worries. Just kind of going back over the costs bit of that. So yeah, going back onto what they have planned for making money, you said UEC.
Yep.
I'm not sure, but they may be still considering doing concept sales after that. I know they would stop selling ships, but I think they might be doing concept sales, as well as they would likely still be doing starter ship sales. So that would be a little bit. But they also were planning on licensing out their tech. So volumetric clouds, meshing.
That argument, I have a really hard time with that argument. Because, and that was made a lot in the comments. That comment, I'm sorry, please don't take offense to this. That is so ridiculous. You don't know anything about the inner workings of their deals with Lumberyard. You don't know anything what's going on with Amazon. Some people are going, they're getting a deal on Amazon servers. Maybe they're getting a good deal on them. Maybe they're not able to license out that tech because maybe the deal is you make Lumberyard more robust, you get a cheaper deal on servers. But those are all massive assumptions. Bigger than the assumptions that I made on what server costs would be. You're making ridiculous assumptions when you say that. You have no idea what they're going to be doing. I have never heard them once. And correct me if I'm wrong. I have never heard them once say that they are going to license out their tech. Not one time have they ever said it. It's been an assumption made by the community the entire time.
I would have to go back through. I thought it was one of the fairly early videos. But yeah, that is a fair point. I would need to go check and confirm. But I mean, yeah, it is also another fair point, which is if it is one of the early videos before they switched over to Lumberyard, they could have
everything
legal issues
could have changed.
Yeah. So that is a fair point. I mean, beyond that, Squadron 42 payout. I mean, look at other AAA games; they make a fair chunk of money off that. So that could hold them up for a little while, but it's not an ongoing payment. So yeah, bit of an issue there. And then customization, which you did touch on. You look at Fortnite, that game was almost entirely run off of people buying customization, so yeah, that did pretty well. As well as on
it's
an
also
MMO side,
a game
Warframe.
It's also a game that Warframe is a much better example. I'll let you go.
Yeah,
Fortnite I don't think is a good comparison.
it was a bit of a flash in the pan, as well as a much different
You could play Fortnite on a phone.
audience.
It reaches so much farther.
Yeah, I mean, Warframe is another one. That one, I'm not sure how much of their funding goes from customization and how much of it is from, basically selling Warframes, which is almost on par with selling ships.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they seem to be doing quite well with their current current funding scheme, and it's largely avoiding pay to win. It's pay to advance. And that's another one, which is in Star Citizen. You said, buying ships is pay to win, pay to get a significant advantage.
Pay to progress.
Yeah. And you did point out that he said that Chris Roberts said your ship is your form of progression. I think what they're talking about from other conversations is that the modules is going to be the major factor of progression. So buying ships may not be as big of an advantage as people might be thinking it is. If, fitting out your ship fully with Class A, nicely tweaked components ends up costing 10 times as much as the ship itself, buying the ship with real money or in-game wouldn't be that big of an issue.
I think we're going to turn into is Star Citizen a pay-to-win conversation if we take that step any further.
Yeah, no,
and I don't want to go there.
To go too far down that way, but
because I
just wanted to.
I can go deep
that.
into that. I mean, I can, and I'm not going to to avoid it. But I see what you're saying. Is the progression in game from that shit, like components in game absolutely need to be a major part of Star Citizen's progression, but we've even seen from the 300i sale that the packages that they were willing to give just so happened to have the highest tier
Class A
and the most overpowered weapons of that particular patch. So
I was
what's going on
when
here?
That came out.
Exactly. So there are things to worry about, but I definitely can see all of your points. But you clearly seem, by making these points, you clearly seem against a subscription model. Are you?
Not really, actually.
Okay.
I was just kind of saying they do have some thoughts on how they're planning on making money. There are some ways they could make money.
Yeah.
A subscription model it makes sense, but I've been kind of looking at this from the factor of they said they wanted to avoid going with subscriptions. They've said they want to have like one-time payments kind of thing. So it would be somewhat going back on their word, but yeah, they said they would try to avoid it.
Yeah, it would be majorly going back on their word that they've said like super publicly. I'll have to do a little bit of digging, but I can most likely find this video. There is, back in the day when I first started streaming, there was a viewer, his name was Harbinger8, and he ended up streaming for a little while on Twitch, might still stream now. I haven't talked to him in a really long time, though, because of time zone differences. But he went to Austin and sat down at a bar with Chris Roberts, wearing like a ridiculous wig, if I remember, and asked him the question of like, what if UEC isn't enough? And he said, we think it will be, but if it isn't, we will have to reevaluate. So that is like, it came out of Chris Roberts' mouth, even though it wasn't made on any of their official channels. I consider that like an official statement from them. And that opens the doors for everything. And like we saw the ship customization for sale, I can totally see subscriptions still. And I is it going back on their word? Yes, to some extent. But is everything that they've done up to this point in Star Citizen technically going back on their word as well, and taking it to the next level, and even further than the next level as far as some of the features that they're putting in the game? Sure, but is that necessarily a bad thing? I just don't. I don't see what is so bad about a subscription model. Why did they go out of favor, and why? Yeah, I just don't get it. Is it,
I think
it's from the
because
game company's perspective, being too reliant on them and constantly having to provide enough to keep the sub count up. Maybe.
I mean, there's kind of two sides of it, which is, yeah, like you said, from the both of them from the company's point of view. One being, yeah, being reliant on that for their source of income. Two is if they have a free option, then that gives them a way to draw people in if they have other forms of monetization, such as customization or UEC sales, things like that, where the player might come in for free and kind of go, this is neat, I want more. And so giving them a like an unlimited method of playing for free means that that's an option. So that's also where I was kind of looking at subscriptions, which is, yeah, like you said, optional versus a mandatory subscription. So with an optional subscription, how do you make it incentivized without basically making it a requirement? Like with World of Warcraft, they say, oh yeah, you can play for free. You can't really. You can get to level 10.
Yeah, Albion Online, same thing. You can play, but you eventually need to get the subscription. You can earn the subscription in-game, though. You can make money in-game and pay for your subscription, but it is not super easy.
Yeah. So yeah,
at least it wasn't.
I haven't played Albion, so I can't really say for sure with that one. So yeah, my next step was EVE Online, where it's being a subscriber gives you a significantly broader range of options. It unlocks a ton of ships, stuff like that, and yeah, you can earn it in game. But the options that you have in game for a non-subscriber gives you a reasonable chance of actually being able to pay that per month, or at least earn that up, and then maybe you'll be a subscriber once every 3 months, something like that. So it's not too bad. And then there's other subscriptions where it leans a little bit more towards, you can play for free, you can play the entire game for free, but being a subscriber gives you benefits. You did touch on this, so improved rep gain, improved payouts, stuff like that.
I think that's a little dangerous, but
yeah,
it could be an option.
I had like 3 tiers of things that I kind of grouped things into, which is like non-pay to win, which is entirely cosmetics, access to things which don't really give you an advantage, mild accelerated progress, which is, in this case, priority landing permissions. So for a trader, that would be handy because it might mean you spend 30 seconds less waiting for landing permission or waiting for a landing pad. Not a huge benefit, but it would help. It would speed things up over time. Access to limited mission agents, not giving you access to special missions, just a different pool. Yeah. So it might mean when you want to play, you'll have access to the missions you want because they might not be in the normal pool, but they're in the special pool. And then also a free small hangar, so like a fighter-sized hangar that you can change the location of once per month. For a person with a starter ship, this would be great. You could toss it wherever if you wanted to have that as your home location. As a person with a larger fleet, that would be handy if you wanted to have like a fighter near an outpost, and just like leave that there and not have to worry about paying for the hangar cost or whatever. And then significant accelerated progress, rep gain, payouts, priority work on ships. So things like changing components, changing modules, repair, making things like that go faster. This is, if you have a capital ship, things like changing modules is supposed to be like a few hours or like a day or something. It's supposed to be a long time to change those out. So that would be, and somebody in chat just brought one up. Locked star systems. No.
Please.
Yeah.
No. Don't put any gameplay behind money, man.
Yeah. So
speeding things up, which in Star Citizen things are incredibly time consuming, it seems like, the way they're building it. That's okay.
I mean, you could say, having a mandatory subscription would be locking things behind a subscription, but at the same time, that it's a bit less of a, I'm a subscriber, I'm a different class than you kind of thing. It's just, I'm a subscriber, I can play the game. So
yeah.
And then the last one on significant accelerated progress is one or more supplied NPCs. So like you get a token that pays for an NPC, or you just get an NPC for a month that you can just put into whatever role you need.
Okay.
Alternatively, a stockpileable token. So it's like, hey, I know that something's going to happen in a couple months. Maybe I'll stockpile a few NPCs and then go out and just fly my Orion entirely with free paid NPCs kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, where do you go if you want to have an optional subscription where it's enough incentive to make somebody want the subscription without making it such a significant thing that it's almost a requirement? So
yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing. That's why I just prefer the whole you pay subscription,
required.
You get access to the game, and you don't have to think about all those things, right? And it's the game sells itself, hopefully. But I guess that's a big problem where you end up in this tough spot where if you don't update the game regularly enough, you start losing subscribers, and then it gets tough on the developer too. So I can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to is, okay. I mean, if you do have a mandatory subscription, could it also have? I mean, there have been people talking on, like I've seen people talking about like, oh, well, what about an option where somebody can play but they can't actually own a ship? So that could be like the free mode. So you can kind of experience the game as a friend of somebody who owns a fleet or owns a few ships, and you can fly around with them. But yeah, that was basically my list of things, and I've just taken up 25 minutes, so I'll let you get to the other 5 people in queue.
It's all right, man. Yeah, I was going to jump in there and say, hey, we should start wrapping it up, but we were having a good conversation, so why not?
Yeah, no, that was basically just my list of things.
Okay. Well, sweet. Well, thank you for coming on, Karadef. It's been a while, so glad to finally talk to you again. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a great day, buddy.
Oh, it should be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, everything might stay the same, but you never know. Something's got to happen when ship sales go away, if ship sales go away. So be good, buddy.
Yeah, that's another factor. But
yeah, man.
Anyways,
talk to you soon. Bye now. All right, and our next caller is Geo Get Money. And Geo goes way back, and Geo's what's the best way to describe you, Geo, as far as like the funding of Star Citizen? Like, you've always pushed the support the funding of the game and blah blah blah. So what do you think about this and the future of Star Citizen and its funding? I see you. I know you turned off your muted mic, but I can't hear you. So we're having slight technical difficulties. So he just popped out. So I'm going to bring in Siberian, and if one of the mods can put Geo when he gets back into next in line on the queue. So, hey, Siberian, what's up, man? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, is this on my end? Uh-oh, this is not good. So...
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry to jump you in real quick, but we just had a little technical thing with Geo.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this whole subject?
I think somebody has to do the contrarian, so I'm going to say, as long as CIG and Star Citizen are not struggling, they should not go to subscription model. And my main reason is their current business model works. Their business model is selling virtual spaceships for money. It's like cocaine. It works really well.
Yeah, like, and even though I don't want to buy them, I still want to buy them. Like, I can't afford to buy them, but I really want to buy them.
I watch like every of your shows, and one of your ideas is not going away, that CIG will at some point in the future stop selling spaceships. I think you're very delusional on that. I think it will never happen because that's the whole business model. It makes no sense to ever change that. And contrary to what Chris Roberts said way back in 2013, I was already back then. Yes, they said that potentially they changed that at some point in the future, but what is that point in the future anyway? When Star Citizen is complete, is that 2030? We don't know. So I don't think they would ever change that. And once you are at that point that they are selling virtual spaceships anyway, I think the whole subscription discussion becomes way less important.
Okay.
And also, it's important. It's important that you have an easy entry, right? That's why the classic subscription models went away. You want there to be an easy entry, and a monthly subscription is not an easy entry. And once you have more players, then a certain percentage of the people, especially as they're playing the game, there's also the incentive to open up all your wallets. Those people will open up your wallets, and that's how all these insane mobile games and all that shit that also real gamers don't really want, how they are making their money, but a certain percentage of other successful games are also making the money that way, right? So when people play War Thunder or World of Tanks, they're also opening up their wallets and paying, right? And if at some point that doesn't work anymore, and before CIG has to close up their servers and close up the company, then maybe a subscription model would be it, but not before that.
I think if you're getting to that point, it's gone too far. But the I don't understand what's not easy about spending $15 a month on a subscription. But hold on, I'm not really referring to you as the person spending it. I'm referring at more when I say easy, like what I was mentioning before, was I mean that it's easy on the developer where they don't have to figure out all these stupid fucking ways to make that subscription worth it. They just have to focus on making a good game.
Okay, but what do you do with all the old people? Are they still allowed to play forever without a subscription?
I don't know. And you know what?
Yeah, but you have to answer that question.
Okay, I'll answer it. I'll answer it. You want to play Star Citizen, you wanted to fund this ridiculous, insane ambition, and you've spent thousands of dollars on spaceships. You spent them on spaceships. You didn't spend them on the video game. You spent them on a dream, okay? You spent them on the dream. And if the reality of you playing that dream is spending an additional $10 to $15 a month, you have to be fucking kidding me if you don't think that they're going to be doing it. Like, and listen, I've probably spent more money than most people on this game, and I'm the one saying that this is something that I would be okay with. It's not necessarily something that I feel like I would want to do, but if it comes down to it, where they say they're going to stop selling spaceships, if they do, they do. You calling me delusional when I said that that's what they said they were going to do. We don't know if they're going to do it. I kind of take some slight offense to that, but not really.
You're a very experienced backer. You know that there is nothing on the horizon
that'll stop this from happening. I agree.
Assume that.
I agree. But you also say that they're a business and that their job is selling spaceships. Their job is to make a fucking good game. That's what their job is.
Yeah, but they're making a good game and they have all the money they need for that. You are imagining a situation that is not there, that their server costs are so high that they cannot finance themselves. So you are imagining a situation, and then
I'm imagining
in anticipation, in the anticipation of that, you're thinking how you can hurt yourself because you have already bought the game, you already have the right to play the game. In anticipatory obedience to CIG, you're imagining the situation that has not appeared, and then how you can solve their problem. But the business model is working, so there's no real need for that.
They were $7 million in the hole last year.
So this $9 million includes 50 people, paying for 50 people. So it's not $9 million server costs.
I addressed that in the video already, so I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Yeah, okay.
I addressed that part. It's and I don't know where you get the number 50 from. You just made up a number in your head talking about making things up.
No, it's not. Didn't make it in your head. It's in the 2018 report. It says it excludes the marketing people and the other departments, and in the actual graph where it lists the employees, it lists those,
just 50 people on the marketing team.
50 people, yes,
and,
50 people,
and then paying for the servers is the rest. So therefore,
Yes,
a
and
large majority of that $9 million was likely to pay for the servers then.
They are 470 others, and if you divide 34 million of the normal salaries, by that you have 72 per employee. Okay, even if you reduce that for marketing to like maybe 60, you still have 3 million for the 50 people plus other costs, and then you are at maximum 5 million.
For servers. In 2018, when nobody was playing the game, correct?
Yes, and that includes extremely inefficient website and extremely inefficient other stuff.
Okay, that's fair.
And
that's
also,
absolutely fair.
The current cloud race with Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, and the current developments with everything basically is driving costs lower and lower. But yes, you are totally right that CIG is using all the platform, once server meshing and everything works, their platform will be very expensive compared to other cheaper models.
Yeah, because their platform does a lot of things, like runs the simulation of the economy, runs the website where you're purchasing the game, runs the website where your VoIP is going through, runs the website where your messages going from outside the game into the game are going through. All of those things are really relevant. And so I am imagining things that are real. I don't know where you're coming from, where I'm imagining things that aren't real, where I'm imagining problems that aren't going to become a reality, even though they're not right now. And that's why wouldn't you talk about something before it becomes a problem?
It's okay to talk about that.
Okay. But the way you were saying things before was like I should not be saying this, where I don't understand why I shouldn't be. I don't understand why this isn't a relevant conversation to have, because I was imagining things. So can we go back to that a little bit? Can we go back to that and get back to the point that you, like, what point were you trying to make that I'm not understanding?
That the current system is working.
I never said it wasn't, but the current system is working in one aspect and completely failing in another. But that may or may not be for this show, because this isn't,
That a coming subscription actually hurts these other sales and hurts the many people the easy access, right? The system that I explained in the beginning that many other big companies do, where the access is easy, and then you always have some people are free riders, not really free riders because they paid like a $25 entry package or $40 entry package.
Even if it's a free-to-play game, there's free riders.
It's a great value. It's a great value, but you always have a certain percentage of people who are really opening their wallets. And if you have more people playing the game, you will always have more of those people giving the money.
Okay, so you're saying, now this will probably be like the final points that we make before moving on to the next caller, but I just want to touch on some of the things that you said. You say they're making a great game. We hope they do. But if what you think is there is a great game, I think you're having some delusions as well. Like, I think everyone at that company knows that the game is not where they want it to be right now. We hope that it's going to be a great game. They hope that it's going to be a great game. They have some plans. If those plans are put into work and they get there, it probably will be a great game. But the selling of ships post economy getting turned on, you're okay with that, I assume. If you think that what do you feel personally, whether or not the model is working to continue to fund the development of the game, which it absolutely is. I can't argue against that. It is worked too well. Almost, right? It's been an incredible, an amazing thing that nobody's ever seen before. You cannot take that away from these guys. That it has been incredible. They've done something amazing. I'm not putting that down at all. But they say they want to stop doing it, and there has to be a reason, because it has some effect on what the game would be post-launch, right? So they said they didn't want to do it for a reason. And
I haven't really heard them saying that much in the last years.
I'll try my best to find the Chris Roberts post, but they don't want to do it post launch, okay? And there has to be something else that works post launch. I suggested a subscription model with the fact that I feel like their costs, because of their platform, are going to be very high. And you have to have a solid funding model in order to get there.
I'll make my final point. I think the game will be lacking for years and years. And you can't put in a subscription model for a lacking game.
I never said
at some imaginary point in the future where it's kind of reached the initial vision, and that's like 2030 or something, then maybe yes. But I don't think that for any of the next 5 years or even 7 years, I can't think of it happening. It makes no sense.
I mean, we can just make up years out of our head of whenever the game's going to release. We'll never actually know, right? But I'm talking about whenever that day comes, when they say, that's it, guys, economy's turned on, no more ship sales, what happens then? And the reason I made this video was not because I have all the answers and I need to solve CIG's problems, okay? I just put my thoughts out there on the subject and want to hear what the rest of the community thinks. I do not sit here in my high horse thinking I know better than basically any of you. That's the reason that we have this show, is because I don't think I'm smarter than any of you, and I love having conversations with people that are smarter than me because it betters me every day. And I definitely don't think I'm smarter than anyone at CIG. No fucking way do I know how to make a video game, okay? But
me neither.
Yeah. The idea of saying, well, what happens then? I want to play Star Citizen. I don't want to see it fail. So putting the idea out there that a subscription model could and very well may be a thing, I like the idea of having that into people's heads, so when it does happen, that it hurts a little bit less, was kind of the idea of the video. So, and this show as well, was to kind of have that discussion and say, maybe this does make a little bit of sense. Like, obviously for you, it doesn't, and that's okay too. Because I agree with you 100%. It's working. Why stop? My argument for why stop is I think it's detrimental for the enjoyment of the game, for everyone, the players buying the ships as well as players that aren't. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Siberian. You're more than welcome to. I loved our back and forth. I like when things get a little bit heated, and it's passion. It's not anger or anything. So I hope you didn't take...
for me as well. I only want to add that I love your show and keep doing it.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I hope you didn't take any offense to anything that I've said or anything like that. It's just passion. I know people see me get worked up.
I'm a very combative guy.
I don't think so. I think you just felt passionate as well about what you were saying, you know? So I assume when people see that stuff, they get offended or whatever by me, but I don't really care. It's just passion. It's because I care. So, all right, Siberian, have a great one. And I hope to have another heated conversation with you in the future about something. It should be a lot of fun. All right, and our next caller will probably be much calmer, in my experience. Groth, welcome. I actually have to put your name on the screen here. So while you're starting your conversation, what do you think? What do you think about this whole idea and the video that I made and even some of the conversations that we've had already on today's show?
I think a lot of points were very good. I would rather, than just repeating stuff, go to some examples and then a certain problem group that's not very big, but that's probably spent a lot on the game. The examples I like is game like when I played years ago. Maybe the funding model changed back then. Star Trek Online, where you had a premium currency, and I think it was refined dilithium or so.
Okay.
And you could earn that in game, but very slowly, and you had to do dailies and stuff.
Okay.
And but you could also buy it, and back then they had it also for ships. But I mean that in terms of, because I heard it from a buddy who plays Red Dead. I haven't bought it yet. That they have a similar model with their cosmetics, where you have something that you can earn on a daily basis, like in a limited number,
And you can
And
only
that is
buy
also-
cosmetics with that premium
Yeah,
currency?
but
Okay.
you can also purchase that, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best things, that are skins that are not exclusive. So basically, when you have like nowadays bought a lot of ships but don't want to have the recurrent spending like later,
Mhm.
that you don't have like all the standard skins only, and then but you still can earn like the stuff, even it will take a lot of time and you have to prioritize stuff. I
Yep.
think Elite is also doing a similar approach.
Yeah, ARCs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is currently one of the better models.
Okay.
Then back to the problem, like I really love the U, and I have 50 plus months of the U subscription already in my package, and I have a WoW subscription currently. I like subscription models, but with Star Citizen, after 8 years saying there's no subscription, and us, because subscriptions pay for the recurrent costs, but also partially for the development cost. So
Yeah.
people that are nowadays concierges, having paid a lot for the game, that the game happens, and then thinking there will be no subscription, they paid the development money to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
Thinking it will be only UE and some cosmetics that will be sold. That after such a long time, for a thing that is mandatory to play, that will be a problem. For a thing that gives some sort of like cosmetic bonuses that might be also earned in game on special events or long term with some premium currency thingy, that might be fair. But the basically the small group I wanted to talk about, that is basically because I heard it like in several orgs, like my org and some other orgs, like who were like allied with and having talks with, and that is people like basically because of all the distance and the long flight time, and people who that is one thing. Then the death penalty, like when they talked about Death in Spaceman and having like a certain death tax, like that means basically when you have a good main account with that is a trader, you don't want to fight and when you have a certain like fixed percentage of death tax. So a lot of people, either for combat reasons, like being faster at a point, like having a character back at the base,
Yeah.
or not risking their main trader character, have multiple accounts, or for piracy, or people like you and Astropup. I think you also talked about like having one account, like a
starter,
basically a hidden account where where you're not harassed so much, or one where you have the zero to hero thingy. And all those accounts would be extra subs you pay. And that is a bit reaching, like with some of the people I know that spend a lot of money. And I have also like an extra account for piracy. So
that's a good point. But
yeah,
they've also mentioned
then
character slots, so who knows? This is just artificially creating a character slot right now.
Yeah.
So
I just
don't know.
hope if they would decide, like I would be not totally against it, but because at the moment you can't merge it, but if they do something big like that and going like against what they said in the early times, in the early 1 to 3 years after Kickstarter, I would really, if you're having like, if they can track your spending to the same bank account, that you can merge those accounts then together, that you only have to pay one subscription, because that's people that probably spent a lot of money, that bought like a Hornet or another combat ship just to have like back at the orc base, and might be
spent a lot of money on a Hornet. Peasants.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've paid way more than that. But, but still, like it would be still like nice to CIG, whatever they do, to not get totally like bonkers with like costs with microtransactions, and always think of the early backers, especially the early backers who paid them a lot.
Yeah. I agree. I like the point that you made about other accounts versus other character slots, but yeah, the thing is they've gone back on their word many times in the past about LTI, we're not going to sell LTI anymore, and then they sell it with literally every spaceship now, that they put out. So there's lots of things that people have just went, oh well, what can we do? There's nothing we can do about it. So if they decide that a subscription model is the best choice for them, and you want to still play Star Citizen, then that's kind of, you might have to throw your hands up and play it, or move on to something else. I'm not saying that they have to. I feel like they might, but yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add, Groth, before I move on?
No, I think most have been said. I prefer cosmetics. I prefer something that you can earn in a slower pace, but still reasonably. So several, like if it's a big skin, or like not something where you have to really, like, starting online back then had a decent pace, where you earned your premium currency. I think Red Dead is also, from what I heard in Discord from a friend.
Does Red Dead have skills? Does it have skill?
No, I think it's all the cosmetics only. Like he talked about buying shirts like with gold bars, and yesterday he talked about like earning a lot of gold bars in a day.
Gotcha. Because
so
a lot of MMOs have skills, and that's the big like difference here is the progression can't be leapfrogged because skills are a thing. But in games that don't have skills, it's like you are able to leapfrog people by just spending money a lot easier, I guess, is the issue. So
the other thing, even though I might be jumping on a landmine, because I don't see, even though I played a lot of WoW and have many pets, I don't see the appeal of pets that much. So I wouldn't care if they sell certain pets for money. But I think a lot of people who are more in this pet collecting thing and like to always show around their pets, I think they probably won't like that. But I personally would be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But that's, again, not something I'm super interested in. But all right, Groth, I guess we'll leave it there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime,
have
man.
a nice weekend.
You too. Talk to you soon. All right, we'll jump into, because Zeus, one of my mods, made a tweet, so he's just been spamming tweet in Twitch chat over and over again. So if you're watching this on YouTube, say hello to Zeus, because he really wants attention, I guess. He said, would you like to see a way to pay the monthly sub with in-game credits, like how Eve does it? I think we've already kind of touched on this even. Like, have it be ridiculously high amount of UEC, so only people that no-life the game can afford it. No, I think it needs to be balanced a bit. He keeps saying 2 tweets, but I only see one. I can't see the other. So the idea of the Eve thing works if you don't have to absolutely no-life it, because then I think it kind of makes it a mandatory subscription then, which makes it a little bit weird. Let me try and find this next tweet. I don't see it, though. Oh, I see it now. Okay. He said, if Star Citizen were to go into the subscription model, I think it should not be but before the game goes gold, and it would make sense to have tiered subscriptions. I would have difficulty paying more than $10 a month, but I know there are people with much higher income. Tiered subscriptions would require like higher benefits, and I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't know how I feel about huge benefits for subscription models. So yeah. I have to sneeze, though. Okay. Excuse me. I'm allergic to tiered subscription models. So, all right, let's bring Ferenci in. Ferenci, am I saying your name correctly?
Yep.
Ferenci, okay, cool. So, Ferenci, how are you? How you doing? And what do you think about this whole... my thoughts on a subscription model thing?
Hold on, I'm hearing the stream and Discord at the same time. So which one should I?
You should be listening. You should mute the stream.
Okay, that's done.
No problem.
Okay, we're good.
All right. So, what do you think? What do you think about this whole thing?
Well, I watched the video that you posted up on YouTube and kind of digested that, gave it some thought, wrote down some notes, and
Did you like and subscribe?
of course.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, so what'd you think? Let me hear your notes.
So before we get started, let me clarify this. So my notes start off with breaking down legacy backers versus new players. So
Okay.
understand that difference there. So when I start talking about that, you have to understand. So legacy backers, I don't have a problem with subscriptions, but I differentiate between those two groups. So
That's
Star
fair.
Citizen chapters, and the PU, I don't think that you should have subscriptions for,
Okay.
because you're going to pay for the Star Citizen chapters outright.
You mean Squadron 42 chapters, right?
Squadron 42 chapters.
Okay.
You're going to pay for those outright. So those are done and over. PU
Agreed.
should be free once you've jumped in that. That's a done deal. But what you do want to have subscriptions for, and follow my thinking. I took this off of Spectrum. I grabbed this idea from somebody that posted it on Spectrum, which was the modules: Arena Commander, Star Marine, Theater of War. Make those all separate games or modules or whatever, and have people pay subscriptions for those. That's where your subscription money comes in, because those are going to be your casual FPS players. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'd still like the idea of those kind of side things being free-to-play games with, like, the Fortnite style of funding, like cosmetic only.
Okay. Now you take your legacy backers. Now, when I say legacy backers, this is everybody that's here before beta arrives. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to have subs for them, you can have an optional subscription model for them. This is a total optional thing. So any subscription things that we have, which is the subscriber flare, the jump point, anything that they come along, that's an optional thing. You wrap all that into one neat little package, and that's an optional thing for legacy backers. Make that completely optional. But for anybody that comes in later, okay, that wants to get all that, that's going to be a mandatory subscription if they want that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think you're separating people so much that you're going to have the elites standing over the subscription plebs.
I know it sounds like that, but I'm trying to make it so that the people who were the original backers don't feel like they're getting bent over and rode hard, because hey, we were told, look, you bought the game,
because you haven't been for the last 8 years.
Exactly. Well, we all have in one way or another. I mean, I'm still salty about my damn Buccaneer and my Cutlass. Don't even get me started on the red. I'm still pissed off about the red, but hey, it is what it is. UEC sales, hey, to each their own on that. I've bought like 100,000 in UEC. I can't even comment on that. That's gonna go whatever way it's gonna go. So it is what it is. New ships.
You're gonna buy a Helix laser and you're done. There you go.
It is what it is. I can't even think about UEC sales. I'm not a financials guy. I'm not a programmer. I'm a medical guy. I've been in the medical field since I was 17. It's like, that's all. I'm just hoping the game comes out before I die. I'll be 53 this damn year.
Okay, that's fair.
I got 10 years to be waiting around for this damn game to come out. Okay,
Agreed.
I am running short on time. Okay,
I'm 35 this month. I'm getting scared.
I do not have another 10 years to wait around for Star Citizen to come around, okay? So Chris Roberts, get off your ass and deliver my game.
That's what I'm talking about. Any truers. I think we have some truers. So, yeah, it's... Yeah.
New ships, we ain't got time for new ships. I'm still waiting on the damn Reclaimer, Orion, and a whole host brand new merchantmen. New ships, okay, we ain't got time for no new ships after release, okay? Finish the ships that are in the production line that's been concepted for years. Let those get finished. Once those are done, okay, stop making new ships. If you want to, go with the occasional, hey, we got a brand new constellation model for your ass, cool. But a whole new ship,
nobody's mentioned that yet. That's a really good point, right? Like, oh, they'll continue to sell ships after the game. Then they're continuing to spend development time on this. Like, that's what people keep failing to realize is like one of the reasons that your game is going so slow is because they're still spending, whether it's mental energy or it's actual energy of like development on making sure that they can keep the doors open. Right? So the choices of what's a priority is the priority is not making a great game necessarily. The priority is making sure that one day they can make a great game. That's how it feels from my perspective. And it's the corner they've put themselves in at this point, and everything they do actually makes sense to me as to why they do it, but it just sucks that they're in that corner,
Mm-hmm.
Where they're selling, and now, which is even more disgusting that people are getting pissed off of, is straight to flyable ships when ships that you paid for 5 years ago you can't fly. Whether guys, you're getting your Carrack this month, maybe, and it's not gonna do anything that you bought it for. But at the same time, thank God you're getting the ship that you paid for, whereas they're not pushing out another thing straight to flyable ahead of the ship that you would have wanted.
I'm still pissed off about the damn Herald, man. It's like, where's my damn data running at? Okay, give me some damn data running. That's all I'm waiting on.
It seems
they're talking about the damn Star Runner. I'm talking about the Star Runner. Okay,
bro,
what about the Herald? Okay?
Bro, you can't run data if there's only one star system. Your data running is going to be a while.
I will figure it out from Hurston to damn R-Corp if I have to. Just give me some damn data running, okay?
All right, listen.
Some hackings.
Listen, you still got your notepad out?
Yes.
I'm going to teach you a little bit about data running. I'm just going to teach you a little bit about it. So do you know the comm arrays?
Yes.
So those are within the system.
Go to the comm array, go to the next.
No.
Go
The
ahead.
comm arrays should each be able to spread information throughout a system. But that data can't be transferred through a jump point.
Correct.
So the point of the data runners is to run the information from one system to another. So until we have systems, until we have multiple systems, the Herald doesn't have relevancy yet.
What's that new system that's coming online?
Pyro.
Where's my damn Herald and my data running at?
Well, maybe after Pyro. That's what I'm saying. So like, the light isn't a pin drop at the end of the tunnel anymore. It's like a Cheerio.
Okay.
Okay.
So we move from pin drop to a Cheerio. Okay, I feel better now.
Yeah.
You made me feel better already.
I'm happy. Mike. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, man. Anytime.
My last point is microtransaction and that customization bullshit that they did with the 300i. Just a big ass no on that, man. Everything's supposed to be purchasable again. Man, I looked at that. I'm like, why would I pay $20, $40, $50 that's going to be more than the ship for customization when I can just do this in game?
It'll all be in game. Like everything that you could buy there, you'll still be able to buy in game.
You know, like when you walking through the damn supermarket with your girl and you at the checkout counter and you see all them damn snacks and candy bars.
I go through this every week.
Impulse damn buying right there. That's what that was, man. I knew what that was when I saw it. I was like, that's impulse buying at the supermarket. Tell me I'm lying.
You're not, but you're missing a part. How many spaceships do you have?
That's classified.
Okay, was that not an impulse buy?
No, I had to negotiate that with some damn
With your
what's
wife?
the damn shoes with the red I had to negotiate some red bottoms with the
Of
wife.
course you did. Okay, you'll get these shoes. I get my Orion. At least she gets to walk around in her damn shoes, man. You still don't get to fly the Orion. What the fuck?
She got the Orion. I got the Kraken.
Oh, she plays too?
Yes.
So
we
you
play
didn't
together.
So you didn't have to negotiate red bottoms then. She got ships that she liked. But some shoes were involved too?
Everything goes on my account. I gift them to her.
Okay.
Okay. So
you get the rewards.
I get all the rewards and all the goodies.
I see what's going on here.
You see how this works?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I have the so
you got the gold suit.
The,
she's got the shitty fucking normal flight suit. I see where you're going with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
All right.
So she plays with the girls. She plays with my daughters, with our daughters.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I play with my knucklehead, don't want to listen to no damn body son. Okay. I think I got the short end of the stick.
I think you did too.
Okay. So it's boys against girls in the house here. Okay.
Nice. What chips do you have the kids play with?
My daughter now, she begged me. She earned. Well, let me put it like this. She earned an Ares 2-pack.
Okay.
Okay. And I actually let her on my
cool.
what the hell was it? I let her on my Caterpillar once, right?
Uh-huh.
And I knew it was a bad mistake because the first time she got on the Caterpillar, her first question was, so if I shoot you in the head, can I steal your ship and keep it? And I'm like, you're not allowed on my ship no more. Okay.
That's so cool. So do you because I don't see how, if you don't mind me asking, how old are your children?
Well, I have a set of triplets that are almost 2.
So they're young.
My oldest son, well, we just had those recently, obviously.
Yeah.
But my son is 18.
Okay.
My daughter's 17, and the youngest girl is 12 now.
Okay.
No, 11 now.
How do they engage with a game like Star Citizen? Because obviously most people that are interested in Star Citizen are much older than that. Do they?
Well, the
are
girls
they
play with
interested?
their mom. Oh, they're very interested. I mean,
That's cool.
It's like my girls are ruthless, man. My girls are ruthless. It's like, they will go out there. It's like, it's funny because my daughter, my middle daughter, she'll call me and she'll be like, Dad, she's like, look at this guy raging in chat. He don't know he just got by a girl, and he's just raging in chat like it ain't nothing. And I'm like, you all right? Like, yeah, I'm funny. It's funny to me. So it's like, they're taught to be like, ignore all this because you're going to be dealing with fools talking to you crazy your whole life. You might as well just get exposed to it now because the internet is full of people like this. So don't take it personally. Okay. Learn how to just let it roll off you. Like The Rock says, or like Taylor Swift says, shake it on off,
Yeah. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Cause you're going to see way worse on the internet than you'll ever see in your real life. Cause people have too much shame to say some of the things they're willing to say on the internet. So
for sure.
If you can handle that, then you can handle anything. That's a good way of looking at it.
I would love for some of the folks to say some of the things and ooh, man.
Me too.
Please be within hands reach, okay?
Me too.
Hands reach.
I would never make those threats to anybody, but the at the same time, the things that people say about you on the internet and in like the comments when I make these videos and stuff, I don't want to see them say it to me. I don't think that they can, I don't think they got the balls to say it to you when you're in person.
No, the internet allows you to be
whoever you want.
Yeah.
And sometimes people want to be an asshole. That's okay. But yeah, Ferenzi, this was a really cool call, man. I think you're the first Star Citizen family I've ever seen so far. I know Aliciana wanted to get her kids into it, but I don't think they engaged as much, if I remember correctly. So this is the first time I've ever seen anybody or talked to anybody that had their family involved in the game like this. It's really, really cool. So even though we went on a tangent, this call was so fun.
Yeah, it was a big investment for us. So we kind of like said, "Hey, do we really want to do this?" And the
Yeah.
wife said, "Yeah, this is our budget for it." So I got the Go version of that F8, I think it is,
There you go. There you go.
and that was our limit. She
Yep.
said, "Once you get that, you're done."
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And now you'll have plenty of things to try and have fun with the family. That'll be so cool. So all right, Frenzy, thank you so much for calling, man. And I hope to have you on another call and someday and talk more like this. This was a great time. Thank you, man.
You have a good one.
You too. Bye now. All right, so Gio, hello Gio, you got your mic all worked out now?
Oh, it's working.
Nice, man. How you feeling? How's everything? It's been a long
What
time.
up, man, dude, it's been forever. You gave me that nice long intro. My mic was all fucked up.
It's all good.
But it's all good, man. It's crazy right now in Chicago. We got the All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
The auto show. Like, it's crazy right now in Chicago.
That's awesome. I was watching a little bit of the All-Star game while I was at work yesterday instead of paying attention to my job. Or it wasn't the All-Star game, it was the dunk contest last night, right?
Oh, yeah, dunk contest and the three-point contest, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, but I ended up going to a concert instead. It's just so much going on this weekend in Chicago.
That's awesome. There's nothing going on here. So yeah, what do you think about this whole thing? Because like I said before with your intro, you've always been a really big advocate of supporting and supporting the game, right? So
yeah, early on,
yeah.
I backed. Yeah, I'm a long time person on the boat. I've been here 2014.
Mm-hmm.
March 2014, I bought my first package, but I was following the project a little bit in 2013.
Okay.
Never even had a computer until like November 14th. But I had a whole bunch of game packages. I seen what they were doing. Cool. I knew it was going to take a long time. Just, I'm not major. I don't think I'm a dev or anything. But I seen how far this project was going with the stretch goals, and I had a good idea this game was going to take 10 years. So
yeah,
I'm not one of these people who are real mad about, how long it take, because I kind of understood it was going to be a project. It's just Star Citizen lately, it's their communication that kind of get us pissed off. Like you said on one of the episodes, you said earlier, they just did a sit down with us and told us why this wasn't working or why this pushed out, and they haven't done that in so long.
No.
I posted a tweet from 2 years ago, Chris Roberts saying he wanted to come on monthly and doing those the live shows, just answer questions. No
bullshit. Yeah.
No specific topic. It could just be, hey, ask Chris questions. And that's when I was backing myself, when he was in front of his game, promoting it, telling about it. And I know we got to get permission to talk about it because he's the head honcho. That's what made me, keep backing into the game like I do today.
Yeah, it's almost like they had a number of meetings a few years back and decided what is our narrative going to be, and now they just live within that, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
And it's they kind of messed up my hype for the game. Like, there's some of the decisions that they make, just like I'm not as hype as I used to be. Like, one caller called up a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Man, dude, I follow every video, get hyped for every ship." And I just feel drained. I'm like, holy shit, this dude is like speaking my mind. The fucking stupid war bond, LTI only. I mean, that was a slap in the face to older backers. Sometimes you want to war bound it out and cash out on the ship. Sometimes we want to melt our ships, use some of our money, like $50, and use the rest credit to have LTI. I know some people are like, oh, LTI is not everything, but it's something, because now it's a cost at a premium. So, what is it? Which is it?
Yeah, and the big thing, and I talked to somebody who's new to Star Citizen now about this, and he told me, like, look at what you're getting upset about. You're getting, like, every comment you've made so far is not about the game at all. It's about all these outside factors that obviously have something to do with the game, but you have no control over them, and they have no effect on the enjoyment of the game right this moment, right? And in the future as patches come out. So I try to I'm trying my hardest to just block Lando and Chris and Tony Z and all of these kind of marketing videos, because that's what they are. They're not talking about the game anymore. They're talking about other things. So I just try to keep my expectations and how much weight I put in anything they say to a minimum now. But like, what would you feel now if they came out and said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing a subscription model in some form. Like, it doesn't just have to be the buy to play thing, but what are your thoughts on it?"
You know, pretty much, except for like the old school MMOs, Eve and World of Warcraft, they haven't really worked. Are there any other games with MMOs that
Ultima Online?
Still haven't? Okay, Ultima. You probably couldn't count 10 of them though, right?
No, for sure. I don't think so.
I mean, we could probably count on one hand how many still have a subscription model.
Yeah.
So that obviously nowadays it's not going to work, and I don't even think the jargon market talk for that. I think that has changed to season pass, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Season passes are the new quote unquote subscriptions.
Yep.
You have to change the name of it because console peasants, they have to pay subscriptions to play their games online with PSN and Xbox Live. So if games are connected nowadays with MMOs, like I don't think Black Desert may have its own server, but it's the same gist that to run those servers you got a one-time pay on there, and then people play it. That's how the game survives off battle passes and microtransactions. So I don't know if in these game modes maybe they can add, like you guys were saying earlier, certain little costume patches on a suit and these game modes. People would actually play them and they would actually have a spot in the universe. Because right now everyone say all this stuff is pointless. Maybe they're looking at the bigger end game, how these games could be like a whole different package, and then you get into the MMO portion. Because the racing, the the TDM mode and Theater Wars, they could all connect to each other while we're waiting on these ship rides. And that could be another currency, because one of the things I noticed when I went into New Station by Microtech, they had the Vanguard game next to the slot machines.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in the future, those are going to connect like inside of... I know you've seen in Grand Theft Auto, they have a separate...
Yeah.
I mean, it could get...
It could go there. It could.
I mean, would it bother... Like, skins... I mean, I never bought a battle pass in...
Bro, gambling is... there's lawsuits out there right now for games that have loot boxes and all this stuff. I work in the gambling industry. It is fucking dangerous, okay? I've seen people deteriorate in front of my eyes over years.
Well, some of them, if you just play like a certain goal, it's not really gambling. Like you get there, like on Rocket League, you get a certain... It's not really loot. They do have loot boxes inside there, but I should have went more to the Warframe model.
The Warframe's definitely different, yeah.
So like when you play and earn this stuff, it's not really a loot box. It'll be like a skin. Like if you played X amount of hours, I got to this rank. Well, I don't know how they would do with tying in all that stuff. But I think that could be possibly a way if it's just skins.
Yeah.
If it doesn't give a player like no crazy advantage, I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you go to GTA, I have a really big problem with GTA gamifying actual gambling games, because then you're teaching people, that I won all this money in a game, I can do it in real life, and when you're playing for keeps, that shit's fucking that's super dangerous.
Well, no, not the betting aspect with the loot boxes, but there's like certain ranks in games that you guys could hit.
Agreed.
And you get something. If you play it, you'll see. Like if you just hit like rank 10, I don't know if they're gonna have like a little rank system inside of the.
It's hard to tell. I guess in the game they have to have something, right? It would make sense.
Yeah, like we're gonna have like play those modes and have a competitive side of ship for a fucking 30-40 minute ride.
Yeah.
Play a quick game of Theater of Wars. Rank up, and we could maybe have like an exclusive hat or some shit or glove.
Yeah. I mean, they could keep going with that. That's the thing, is that the possibilities are endless with those. And imagine funding Star Citizen through Theaters of War. Like, imagine Theaters of War takes off and is actually like this really fun combined arms game. Obviously, I don't think on release, but over time, maybe it actually gets pretty decent and people enjoy playing it. And you literally fund Star Citizen through cosmetics in a game like that. That would be the most amazing thing ever. It'd be so sweet.
I mean, that's kind of what some of the like the Battlefield, like the Battle Pass, I think in their works or PUBG, like you just unlock these certain stuff and then everyone gets it. It's not no loot boxed. Now there are some games that do have the loot boxes. You get keys and stuff a month to open those as well, but that's just another incentive, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things I think you're doing, I think you're kind of underplaying that deal with Amazon. I'm sorry.
Maybe, but like I said earlier, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't. But for CIG not to really look like they're sweating it. Well, first, this is why I come to this conclusion. Why? First, you ask yourself, why do people make that assumption? Because Amazon's getting into the the gaming world.
Yeah,
they bought out. Well, they didn't buy out VR, but VR. They're looking in the future for that. They know that Star Citizen just got some of the top devs from Crytek.
Yeah. To
be honest, I think this is my conspiracy theory. I think that's why Crytek really got pissed at.
Of course,
Star Citizen. It was they took some of their engineers, some of their best workers, Todd Pappy, Sean Tracy, the geniuses of Crytek, right from them, and they legally could not sue them for that because they were not paying them. So it wasn't a come to our company like on Death Row shit back in the day. Come to our production company. They weren't paying their workers, so they were nitpicking Star Citizen to me to make them pay for stealing their workers. So Amazon sees that they're getting to the gaming. New engines aren't easy to make. And no one's kind of working together. EA got their own engine, Ubisoft got their own engine of games. So if you want to make a splash, the cheapest way to get in bed with somebody is a game that's doing it bigger than anybody else. I mean, this is quadruple A. You see the stuff that Chris is trying to make. So make that deal with him to get some of the tech going in their new game that's coming out in MMO, New World MMO. But we would never know those deals, like you said, just like the Intel one. We don't know. We still don't know how much money Intel gave them for that fucking CitizenCon. It's that tight nip. And they probably wrote someone in the contract like, hey, don't let people know that we're giving you our fucking tech because they don't need to know about it. The majority of the public doesn't need to know about that. Keep it in there. Get our ideals. Give us an extremely nice discount or give us free service. And it'll be so much good marketing for Star Citizen to run the servers and stuff like that in that aspect. That's
fine, but don't you see even the guy who kind of did some math and said, well, their server costs were probably $5 million in 2018. That was 2018, and it was $5 million. So if they had some sort of good deal and they still spent $5 million on the servers in 2018 when nobody was fucking playing, how good of a deal is it?
Well, I mean, Amazon's playing the long game. We know Amazon took them a long time to be a good company. So if this goes right, it's a gamble. It's probably still a gamble for them because they don't know when the game's coming out. Yep. They just know Chris is doing something amazing. Look at it.
Well, and they know that they don't have to.
Coming out now.
They basically know that they're developing tools for Amazon on our dime and not on theirs.
And that would piss everyone the fuck off right now.
But that's exactly what's fucking happening. And if that's the assumption that you're making, is that Amazon is getting tools for their game engine on our dime, and CIG is getting a discount on servers.
They are, but we're getting a buy to play. It's not going to be a subscription.
Agreed.
Or it's not going to be, like I said, games now. Everyone knows subscription model is it's pay pass now.
Yeah.
The subscription word is too many subscriptions out. Disney Plus, Hulu, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So one more doesn't need to be added.
But if they call it something different, it's still a sub. So what?
It is. That's what I'm saying. It'll be the CIG way. Just like I wanted to say earlier with the crafting. Really, it is crafting in Star Citizen. It's just not the armor and weapon crafting that everyone's like, I gotta sit here and do this. But
so for people that end up
trees,
hold on, because for the people that end up watching on YouTube, the thing that Gio's getting into is what we're going to talk about next week. So
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So we were thinking of we just got into this subject of crafting in Star Citizen, and that's actually going to be next week's topic. So and the topic name will be, does Star Citizen need crafting? Because it sort of does, it sort of doesn't. So if anybody's watching on YouTube and wants to end up calling in next week, feel free. And just go ahead, Gio. Sorry to interrupt, buddy.
Okay, what was that? But yeah. So it's a big bet for Amazon, but it's pretty much promoting their own engine while helping them out. So they would, that's a write up for them in this deal. Like, okay, well, yeah, we lost X amount of dollars running for this, but this could kind of go into marketing once this tech is in there showing off, being top notch, because no games are doing it like this. I mean, I played Red Dead Redemption 2, beautiful, nice storyline, but it still wasn't Star Citizen quality graphics. So, I really think that's what happened with that deal. We haven't heard nothing much from it. And then another thing he did was the Xfinity commercials and stuff. We don't know if maybe he got some server stuff in connection with them instead of getting paid, to talk about Xfinity. They gave him
their internet costs are maybe a little bit lower then.
And that'd be the smart thing to do, because a lot of I was watching a YouTube channel. They'll find stuff like a travel channel. They'll go to hotels. Like, hey, if we put a hotel on a channel, instead of paying, would that be a nice, trade, a service with each other? So I think that's the way they went about it, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're not really worried about the server.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff makes sense about previous deals and things like that, but I don't know, man. I'm still kind of on the idea that they would need some sort of thing, because again, they're making lots of money, but it's all going into the development. So what happens after, So we'll have to see. But all right, Gio, I guess we'll leave you there. It was great talking to you. And I want to go to CitizenCon, so we'll see. I really hope to see you there and you get to meet my fiance.
Turn up. Yeah, you can meet my girl too, man. She likes Star Citizen just from me watching videos. She's seen the 890. She's like, wow, this shit's fun.
Yeah, so that's cool.
I'm gonna try to get her into it and come see us nerd the fuck out.
Yeah.
And
this will be my
October.
My fiance went to a Bar Citizen, and she was cool, but it was a totally new experience for her. And this is a Bar Citizen on steroids, yeah. So it should be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, fucking Super Saiyan Citizen Con, Bar Citizen, dude. It's crazy.
It's gonna be sweaty in there. So all right, Gio, I'll leave you. Have a great one, and all right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Be good, buddy.
All right, nice talking to you guys, man. Yeah, talk to me after the show, man. We gotta see if we can maybe get a Airbnb together or something, and
we'll figure something out. But I'm on the fence if I'm going or not, so we'll have to see.
Oh man, you gotta come hang with us. That's what it's about, man. Hanging with us. I'm not even going for the show anymore. I just go to hang out.
Just to hang. Honest. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
That's how it was last time, because the tech and everything. I'm like, man.
I don't care about that. I just want to see everybody. But we're getting married this year, so it's that's the thing. Is can we afford to do this? We're not having a big wedding or anything, but her grandmother lives in Italy, so we want to take a trip there, and that's the big expense. So we'll see if we can fit it in with that. It's going to be really hard. All right, Gio, be good.
That, brother.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you, man. I'll let you know what our plans are. Be good, buddy. Bye. I said for sure. I just cut him off. My bad. All right, so before we go to ASN, there is another tweet, and it's from AlexPK78. He says, I think a subscription is going to be necessary. Money will dry up, and they will pull the plug. Doom and gloom, oh no. Nobody wants that, fair or not. True. A flat rate for all players to keep a small group of devs working and the servers running. No Star Citizen would be a disaster for huge backers. Yeah. Or no subscription would be a disaster for huge backers. I don't know. That's kind of what my idea there on that thing was. If it becomes necessary, which I argue that it may be because of the cost of running the platform and the fact that they're going to still have a lot of devs while they're still building out the game, maybe a subscription model is necessary. We'll have to see. But all right. Resident game dev coming in. I'm bringing ASN in. ASN, welcome.
Hello.
So, calm my nerves, I guess. Talk some logic into me. Although I think callers had some really good points.
Yeah, there are some really cool points, but like before I start getting to the meat of the subject, I do want to address the whole Amazon thing.
Okay.
So, last year whenever I was at GDC, I ended up dropping by they set up a huge lumberyard booth to start promoting the engine.
Okay.
Amazon.
Cool.
So the Amazon Game Lab Studio, or like what was it called? Whatever. They were there, and they were all the lead devs and technical leads presenting parts of their engine.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were like 4 or 5 sections. One was a network section. The other one was environmental art, tools. The other one was more into programming, what kind of like things the engine has. And back then, it was even more closer to CryEngine. Obviously, as the years go, it's slowly deriving more and more. Now, I was there and I wanted to talk to those people there to see if I can actually kind of understand that if there actually is something going on.
Get some dirt
behind the scenes that we don't know.
You trying to get some dirt?
So, yeah. So this is inside gossip. So I ended up talking to a couple leads and ended up saying, because when the tech they displayed was so similar to Star Citizen,
yeah,
especially on the procedural tools, the brushes they use,
okay,
the back end, the ABS, like everything was pretty close. So I was like, hey, I know this game called Star Citizen. Have you heard about it? And I'm like, and like kind of like, you know, seeing if they pick up on that. But I was obviously joking. I was laughing while I was saying it. And then they smiled. One of the guys there smiled and he said, "Yes, we've been working with them for quite a long time, and like we really like having them on board with Lumberyard and stuff." And I'm like, "Hey, so this tech here really seems similar to what they displayed,
okay,
2-3 years ago," and then like immediately like the other person started like grinning, like it's like yeah, it does, and I was like, are you guys working together on this tech, or like what's going on? And then the answer I got was like, all I can say is we love working like with, but I can't immediately comment on if we are working together on specific tech, but I'll let you guess about that on your own.
Okay.
The way they said it was like, obviously we're working together, but I can't tell you officially. So
yeah,
like, and everything they displayed was first displayed on the Star Citizen YouTube channel before any Lumberyard marketing in 2016, 2017. So it kind of like the devs allude to like wink wink, we do collaborate on the tech, and that kind of like immediately, like it kind of makes sense, honestly, because Amazon wants to market this engine. To market an engine, you need big titles, you need names that have made an impact on the game industry. It doesn't matter how negative or positive, you just need presence.
And Star Citizen has made a huge impact.
Yes, and if you have the largest crowdfunded project, use your engine, that is, you pay good money for that. And the money they pay, I think, is why, like, this is again like speculation, but that's why the whole server deal, which is the most, as you said, which is like one of the most expensive parts of this game, an MMO, is having a good server deal, and I think that's how Amazon figured that that's the best way they can work with SIG, is like pretty much reduce their long-term costs for networking, use their engineers to develop Lumberyard and mature it, and also obviously have their presence to market their engine.
Okay.
I think like that's the deal that is the most likely, most realistic scenario behind the scenes.
And I think we all
Obviously,
assume
they're
that.
not getting service for free.
I think we all
Obviously,
assume that. You had a little bit more information than we did, which is why I said, it's really hard to say because you're just assuming, but you have a lot more solid factual evidence that it's actually a thing.
I'm not gonna say this is like 100% fact because nobody came on testimony to.
Yeah, but it sounds
kinda,
more
but
like it than just random assumptions from
if
members
you're
of
on
the community.
floor and you look at, yeah, exactly. If you're on the floor, if you look at the tech, if you talk with them, like it's not like they don't know and
Mhm.
they've never heard of SC and this is outside partner. It really sounds like they're part of their core flow. So
Okay.
yeah, and this year I'm going again, so maybe I'll grab a few lumberyard devs too. So to ask.
Yeah, ask around.
Anyway,
see what's going on.
The other points was what was the other thing about? Oh yeah, so my argument is this: I don't think subscription models going forward, the traditional subscription model going forward, is the right path to go.
Okay.
Because I think it's quite a weakening method of funding a long-standing MMO. And the reason is like microtransactions are leading the industry right now, and for me, because this is my opinion, this is just my opinion, I don't like microtransactions. And anything that influences the game, I just don't support. This is just goes against me. But the industry is heading that way, and we need to acknowledge that subscription models in general are gonna eventually like fade away, and they are fading away as time goes by.
Yep.
So in my opinion, the way to fund this game is a mixture of a lot of things, which Star Citizen is actually doing. The reason why they're opening the floodgates for money from every angle is because they want to have the flexibility to kind of shift and change according to the situation. So one good way, I think, of doing it is cosmetic microtransactions, which is like approved by, in consensus, about 70% of the game consumers approve of visual, like cosmetic microtransactions, cosmetic DLCs. So it is the best way that you can start selling stuff and without influencing the game. So that's like one way. It's one way to do it.
Now, can we stop there before you keep going? Like, they obviously started putting that into the game with the 300 series. From your perspective, being a game dev, all the future ships sold since then have not been converted. Is there a priority reason why they may not be doing that right now?
I think so. That's a good point. There's a lot of backlog on Star Citizen's development, also on the ships, that require them probably to rework a lot of the old systems to make sure customization works on them.
Yeah.
So they're probably, I think their idea is, it's kind of like rolling out a prototype to see how successful it is, how much money it makes, if it integrates with the game systems well, and then evaluating if it's worth doing that on everything else and how much you can phase that out. And they've done that and they kind of stopped.
So it's clear that it wasn't worth the effort right now. Maybe it will be long term, but not today.
Yeah. I don't think it's really important right now because they're selling big ships and like they're selling all the ships. But I think the reason, this is my thought process, is once they stop selling all the ships and just start selling starters, if that day ever comes, they will need all ships to have customization. And that's my argument, is the best way SC can get out of this morally and financially is to put like cosmetic microtransactions on all ships, only sell starter ships, and sell squadron every 3 years, every episode. So that combination, I think, can actually make them run pretty smoothly and pay their 55 or 60 million expenditures.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Dota is a huge game. I'm not saying SC is going to sell as much as Dota on microtransactions, but Dota makes about 500 million a year on cosmetic and other non-game microtransactions. and SC only needs to make 50 million expenditure costs at the minimum. And if you consider that 250,000 people join Star Citizen every year, if everybody would pay a $60 package, that would be about $50 million.
Yeah.
And if you add all microtransactions, if you have a department of visual cosmetic microtransactions, adding constant, like just like the glasses, t-shirts, whatever, but also for ships, also for everything, you could actually scale that number up. And then if you add Squadron on top, then you have, if Squadron targets are 1 million sales, which is like, I think the most realistic goal, that's $60 million per game. And if you rotate all of this, I think it's possible to fund the game.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. That's fair. That's totally fair.
Without huge concept sales, ship sales.
Which would be great. Which is what we all would like.
That's the thing. How can you get out of this ethically and the most financially sustainable way? I think this is the most ethical and financially stable way to get out of this current situation, which is pretty messy once the game launches.
Okay.
Yeah, and the point about the other point that I want to make about subscriptions is it's just buy to play, I think, is a nice concept that everybody kind of understands. And if everybody can just buy and play a game, and the rest is just those for the people who are just extra interested, they want to look nicer, they want to, like, I don't know, whatever. That's, I think, the best method.
I agree.
Because the majority of the crowd, that's why free to play is successful. Majority of the crowd just wants to install and play.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then look cool. It's all about how you look.
Yeah. But
I mean,
but free to play, it's also a bar, I think, too low because the game is too hardcore.
Yeah.
From a kind of like game design perspective. So
yeah.
I think the buy to play and then have cosmetic microtransactions for everything, all ships, all characters, all FPS, armor, weapons, is like that. And then you have Squadron rotating about every 3 years because it's a huge game. Once it comes out, if it hits 1 million sales, that's $60 million for 1 year. The other thing I wanted to mention is return on investment. We don't know the deal they made with the investors, but if it's just a stakeholder deal, which is like buying a percentage of the company, we don't know. It might be more because sometimes you make deals, you say, I'm going to pay like this part of the product back to you and like whatever. But if it's just a ownership deal, then they're only entitled to the percentage of profits that they have bought in ownership.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't mean that they have to pay the entire
47
45,
back.
40 mil back. But it could be. The deal could be we're gonna pay you that back. We just don't know that bit.
Okay.
But it's not that like sometimes it's like it depends on the situation, but it could very well be just buying part of the company. Yeah. And then the last point about the server costs, it was a very good video. The video was great.
Thank you.
Like like, comment, and subscribe, hit that bell, guys. And it was because the reason it was good to point out that statistic on the report was it's something that will exponentially increase.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very good analysis of the potential of that.
I was like, whoa, when I saw that number. No other number did I feel like, holy shit, except for that one. Because that was 2018. Yeah. I know I've said it a lot. It was 2018. Nobody gave a shit about this game then. It is way more popular today than it was then. What's going to happen when the game's actually good? You know?
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of clients connected to those servers.
At the end of this year, we can check the numbers again and see how much they increase and kind of make an estimation of, how much they will keep increasing. Yep. Kind of have a guess. But I do agree that even cloud servers aren't cheap. And older servers, sometimes it makes sense to have your own server, sometimes it doesn't. You got to really be a network and IT guy to kind of debate that.
Yeah.
But from what I know is that on the like basically the idea of the cloud of the ramping up and down makes it cheaper because whenever there are only 5,000 people playing your game, you pay less.
Yeah.
And whenever there's more, you can immediately spin and then adjust, and then you pay more. Like you don't pay the same price, a fixed rate throughout the times where there are no people playing your game, which is the whole point of like cloud servers. But I think like that's why I think it was very smart of CIG to do a partnership with Amazon, because they do charge quite a lot, and if they do have a good deal, then it could be worth it in the long run. And AVS is one of the best cloud infrastructures in the world, so there's literally no other partner that could be better.
Yeah.
Eve is doing something else. They have their own servers, and there was a recent article, they upgraded one of their couple of their servers so they could run a 6,000, like was it 5,000 player battle, and they paid $3 million for the server upgrades.
Jesus.
Yeah. And so it kind of shows you again, these things are
not cheap.
very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that assumption is like, I think, very good. It's just that we don't have accurate data on how much of those are server costs, and there are no companies that are sharing their MMO like server costs that much.
No, it was impossible I looked for days, and those were the only comparisons I can find. I looked for days because they don't specifically say server costs. They lump it in with all this other shit. So it's really hard to figure out what it is. I think they do that on purpose.
They do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to hide some data and make it harder for others to kind of guess and project how much things are going to cost.
Yeah, I mean, if we knew exactly what the server costs were and then they were charging more for the subscription than it should, then, people get banned. I get it,
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I coming back to the subscription stuff, I think it's outdated, and I think that what Star Citizen is doing for subscription right now, which is kind of like not like the usual subscription model, I think that's literally a preparation for the microtransaction model of like the cosmetic stuff, because like they're already creating assets every month, right? The special like shirts, the special classes, special cool armor.
Don't forget your bubble jackets. Don't forget your bubble jackets.
Exactly. Yeah. And those amazing glasses, right?
Fuck those glasses.
They're preparing for this. It's obvious. Like they have a team set up that are pumping cosmetic items right now, even like for the past 2 years now. So they're prepping. They're making sure they're ready, and they already have like that pipeline down. But we'll see. Because and also, by the way, you said one thing. The other thing you said was what I wanted to mention before I kind of close it. Is that you said that they were 7 million in the hole like last year, like 2018.
Outside the investment, yeah.
Also outside their reserves, which was the detail there.
They still had reserves, but they
ate their reserves
money in versus they ate into reserves, exactly.
Yeah, and they ate into reserves, and they still had 7 million reserves left for 2019.
Yeah,
which is
and then 2019 they had without hiring that many, with that many more devs, they're already making way more, and this year's starting in the same direction. So I'm not concerned about the current day funding. It's going great. I'm concerned about 2-3 years down the line when they say they're going to stop selling ships. What do we do then?
Yeah, and I think that the cosmetic plus starter packages plus squadron model can fund it.
I might just be a fucking boomer and like I paid subscriptions for my games and I'm totally okay with it. But I guess it's just different time now.
It's hard for people to commit money monthly because it constantly keeps eating away on their bank account, and that's why people are always more reluctant to subscribe to anything. This is just like how psychologically people behave.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a big consideration. But yeah, thank you for your time, and I'm also hungry, by the way. So
I know somebody was trying to get in to join the show, and I was like, I can't. Like, I want to have energy for bad words, and that's about the last bit of energy I have.
All right, man.
All right, Asan, be good,
Take
buddy.
care, and thanks for doing the show as always, man. Good
No
job.
problem. Thanks, man.
Really rocking it.
Thanks.
All right, take care, chat.
Talk to you soon. All right, so we're gonna bring on Bad Words. Bad Words, what's up, man? How you
I
doing?
appreciate you keeping some energy for me.
I'm trying. I'm struggling right now. So I'm gonna do my best. So if I start like fading, just snap me back into it.
All right, I'll just start talking about the Carrick if it comes down to that.
Yeah, that'll get me heated. Why do you care about the Carrick? Okay, there we go. I'm
Actually-
ready. I'm heated. Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, so let's talk about again server cost. We haven't even started going into the idea of once this goes into a live services mode, and that's going to double the cost because then you're talking about moderation and stuff. Because and I was just thinking about GMs, but that's assuming. Honestly, I was sitting there thinking to myself, the way it is right now in there, if the server costs and all this stuff's done, and of course everyone's just buying the box, and let's assume people stop selling ships. I was just thinking three things. Fallout 76 is considered the worst game ever, and people are still buying $100 subscriptions to it. So I mean, there's always going to be a dedication base that'll just throw money at something, good or bad. I think that they're paying attention to this. I think it's unfeasible to have the main game. I think they're going to split the game world. I think there's going to be a truly unmoderated, lawless Star Citizen universe, and then there's going to be you pay a little bit and then you get the live service universe, so that the people, and because I think that the incentive is that the raw community of any game is so inherently toxic that it will incentivize paying a sub to be moderated.
Yeah, I think you're stretching, but maybe.
Yeah, well, think about this. I mean, you're talking about Eve. If you look at all the games, usually the game collapses because you're talking about live service. You're talking about where the devs and stuff don't react in a way to the community need. Like something, oh, well, there's a huge exploit and but we're just going to let it go for things. And then somehow everyone now has $3 million who exploited and all the good people are screwed over.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's this serves the idea that people who feel this is the rules, everyone should live by these guidelines. Fine, pay a little bit. Everyone lives by those guidelines. If you just want to play the game, whatever shit happens, you play the base game, and it serves both purposes. That way they can. I think that they probably will go with that model, and that will help them build revenue because that's always, if you look in any MMO forum, that's always the dichotomy: the people who want to just play the fair game, and then the people who are exploit fast and often, who don't want to, who just want to say everything unfiltered, want to break the fourth wall, do whatever, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. And
honestly, we're talking about 3 million players. There's enough players there that you're not splitting a community is not going to upset or be even noticeable, probably.
I don't know. I still don't think you should ever split, but that's me.
You shouldn't, but you're splitting, you are, but you're already split the community. You already, you're talking about like let's say an example, Arcade, people who play Arcade love the game, but the devs drive them away, and people who exploit sticking on the top and no one doing anything about it. It's literally the management of the server that causes people to leave. You know? So I mean, and Eve is it's one of those things. I remember way back in time when it turned out that the devs were helping the largest thing, and then it led to a whole huge collapse in drama. So again, it's one of those things of I think it's one of those eventualities. It makes sense because the bulk of the people who don't want to pay, fine, there you go, you got your game, everything you want. People who want to pay extra for that extra thing, sure, that's how it works. And I think that it works. Also, call me a conspiracy theorist a little bit on this one, but I'm starting to believe after looking at your graphs from the last thing about the pricing and the money stuff, I was like thinking November, December sales. And I was sitting there thinking, maybe moving the Carrack to February is an experiment because you'll notice all the other months
Are
you
garbage.
don't get the sales. Yeah. So if you put the big super ship on in February and now February becomes as big as November and December, now you have a new way to do it,
Yeah.
I honestly, part of me thinks this is a great experiment for them,
I think this year is so weird though, because this year there's so many new people and so much more influx of money than we've ever seen before that it could be like skewed their numbers. Because like look at their January they're having. They never had a January like this before. This is crazy right now. So man, I don't know what's happening, but all I know is when there's actually something to do in the game and it's really fun, like how much money are these dudes gonna have? This is gonna be nuts.
I'm just saying that right now, when you're only having to deal with 50 people at a time, it's fun because you could always just up and leave if someone's being a complete ass and then go to another 50 people and eventually you'll find a 50 people server you're fine with. Once meshing's in, you can't escape this. And I like every other kind of live game, the buying stops as griefing increases. That's just the nature. The community is the worst salesman for any game,
Yeah.
Community works against the game getting profit. It's just that I've never seen a community actually be a selling point to a game.
Yeah, look at the whole thing with the Expanse guy. They fucking embarrassed all the people that responded to that tweet. Embarrassed this community, embarrassed the game because they jumped to defend it, and just there was no need whatsoever.
Yeah, so I mean, and then at the same time, it's things like when I'm saying about moderated servers, things that have rules like, right now, yes, the game's hard to run on a computer, but what is it, 5 years? We're talking about, I'm sure people are even from day one going to be dual boxing for some way.
They
shape, or
already
form.
are.
There are people with. Yeah, so I mean, the fact is that, having moderation servers where they're like, okay, only one account. If we catch you dual boxing, everything gets erased. Those kind of things will probably kick in. People will pay for that because people don't get annoyed with that. And I also disagreed with what the other guy said. I always disagree when someone uses a Eve model of anything for another game because Eve is never an example of a success. Eve is an example of holding people who are already interested in Eve, but it's not a model for how to promote or to extend a game,
Yeah, because there's no new people really coming to Eve, right?
It's just
I'm interested.
It's just buying more accounts. Yeah,
I'm interested, but I've never played it.
The only people who come into Eve is the person who's buying their 10th box account.
I'm scared to play Eve because I feel like I'd be in fully.
Yeah, well, no. Once you sit there and you find out that you have to sit there for a 3-hour gate camp, or there's a lot of time when you're sitting there and you're just 2 or 3 hours of just sitting there doing nothing, and then the alternate that someone offers you is go bot rat in the belts and whatever, and you're like, ugh. Yeah, it's a very slow game. If you're like talking to people on Discord, great game. Eve is like Star Citizen where you never come out of Quantum. You're just in Quantum the whole time.
Never playing it. Okay, I'm good then. But yeah, I guess what is there anything else you want to add before we get going? I'm getting the messages from the wife saying,
all right. I do think that they're probably going to switch to skins eventually once they stop selling ships. Skins are going to sell. I mean, it's just there's too much money spent into a ship that people aren't going to spend. $100 for a Drake, $30 more for a skin is probably not a big issue for that.
And they're going about it in a really cool way where it's not even just a skin. it's like all these little nodes that you can customize on each ship. So it's $1 here, $5 there, right? Like micro transactions instead of like $30 you get this whole setup, right? Like lots of customizing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it could work.
Yeah, and you know, again, it's the other thing I probably think is you know, going back to Eve, I think that putting these battle passes, there's a crutch involved in having multiple currencies, because it just means that there's a lack of money sinks, or the money sinks aren't balanced correctly, because all these things are really just you know, ways for people who have too much money to kind of get the money out of the system, so it sort of equalizes things. I don't know if that's going to work, because of course, again, it's going to promote even more botting the minute that you can have, if anything goes towards a real currency, there's always going to be more botting the more you add that. So I'm not too sure about that either, and I mean, we'll wait and see. Again, I my big thing is, I have a feeling that, you know, once server meshing is on, we're going to see all of this best community ever go down the drain, because there's just going to be a 1,000-person fleet versus 1,000 people hunting one person. It's just going to be you know, all the things that kick in are going to all happen at once, and it's just going to be drama all over the place. And I don't think that CIG has a history of reacting, because they got your money, to be honest.
Yeah.
They don't need to react. You know, that you paid up front.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That's about it. I won't keep you too long.
No, I'm sorry to get you there, but it's a pretty long show, and I had a late night at work last night, so I'm pretty tired. But all right, man. Broken. That will do it for today's show, I guess. So thank you for being our final caller. And good points, of course. I'm sorry I didn't have the energy I normally would. But yeah, so I'll leave you here. We'll get you next time. So have a great day, Broken. And I'll probably see you next week. I think we're going to have a really good one next week. I'm really excited for this. I keep saying Broken. Bad words. Sorry. See, I'm tired, okay? I'm tired.
Go to sleep.
Yes. So I'll talk to you later, Bad Words. Be good, buddy. But we're going to have a really good show next week. I'm really excited for this. We got on the discussion of, does Star Citizen need crafting? And there's some argument that there is plans for crafting, but it's very different from your traditional MMO crafting. Like, what do you do in Star Citizen? Like, what are you going to do? Like, do we just go around and haul stuff from one place to the next? So it was an interesting discussion that we had, and I think it's pretty exciting. So, you know, like, what do you do with the mined material? And we have some information from really old posts. We have some information from like the quantum discussion, and it's not the same as all those traditional MMOs, crafting armor and swords, and you are the factory. You are the company that is creating these things. But Star Citizen has these companies. So how will it work? And we've had like little back and forth on the stream this morning, and it seemed like it was going to be a really solid topic for Answer the Call. So we already have our Answer the Call topic set for next week, and I'm very excited to hear what you guys think about it then. So again, you can join the show by coming on at around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We start kind of preparing for the show, saying what the topic is, and getting people in the call list. And then we start the show around 10 a.m. Eastern, and we go until about now, which is noon. So 1 to 2 hours, and yeah, so I really hope to see you guys, and maybe we'll have to keep the calls kind of short. I hope we have a bunch of them, and I will catch you guys next week. So make sure you leave a like, subscribe, let me know what your comments are below, but obviously this is more of to get a real human being interaction response to my last video, so if you haven't watched that yet, go check that out as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.